after Marduk creates the world, he has to establish a bureaucratic order, okay? A hierarchical order. So he says, he fashioned heavenly stations for the great God and set up constellations, the patterns of the stars. He appointed the year, marked off divisions, and set up 3 stars each for the 12 months, okay? So he's basically building a calendar. The idea here is that all these were bureaucratic inventions in Samaria in order to better govern the people, right? What this myth is doing, the Enuma Elish is doing, is proclaiming that the bureaucratic world is divinely ordained, okay? This didn't come from the priests, it came from the gods. And the priests are just the messengers. All right, let's continue. All right, so now that Marduk has built this world, he's like, you know what? I'm tired and I want a place to rest. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a house, which is my temple, and then I'm going to make slaves in order to serve me. And these slaves are called humans, okay? That's why we were invented, to serve the gods. Before we understood that the gods served us, helped us, or loved us. And now we must become slaves to the gods. Beneath the celestial parts, whose floor I made firm, I will build a house to be my luxurious abode. Within I will establish a shrine, I will found my chamber and establish my kingship. Okay? All right, so now he's going to turn humans into slaves. He conceived the desire to accomplish clever things. He opened his mouth, addressing Eel. He counsels that which he had pondered in his heart. I will bring together blood to form bone. I will bring into being Lula, whose name shall be man. Okay? All right. And the gods, by the way, are called the Anunnaki. Okay? That's why there are conspiracy theorists on the internet who say that we were invented by the Anunnaki. All right. So what Marduk does is that he takes his enemy, Tingu, and then he kills him, and then from his blood, he will create mankind. Okay? They bound him, holding him before Ale. They inflicted the penalty on him and severed his blood vessels. From his blood, he created mankind, on whom he imposed the service of the gods and set the gods free. Okay? Now, what's really interesting for us to remember is that throughout this poem, Marduk has different names, Bel, El, okay? And the reason why is that what happens in these epics is they take different traditions and they combine together into one composite story, okay? All right. After the wise El had created mankind and had imposed the service of the gods upon them, that task is beyond comprehension, for Nimrod performed the creation with the skill of Marduk. King Marduk divided the gods, or the Anunnaki, okay, the gods, into upper and lower groups. He assigned 300 in the heavens to guard the decrees of Anu and appointed them as a guard. Okay? So now he's going to create this hierarchy. So yes, all humans are slaves, but there's some humans who are better slaves than other humans, okay? And that's what explains the hierarchy. So as you can see, in Enuma Elish, it was written in order to justify the existing power structure. And honestly, this is a concept that's still true today, right? Why do we have schools? Why do we have media? Why do we have entertainment? It's to justify the existing power structure and social order, okay? All right. Now we get towards the end, and this is to establish that Babylon is the divine city. If it's divine, it means you can't leave it. You all want to be here, even though being in Babylon means you're enslavement, okay? Let us make a shrine of great renown. Your chamber will be our resting place, wherein we may repose. Let us erect a shrine to house a pedestal, where we may repose when we finish the work. When Marduk heard this, he beamed as brightly as the light of day. Build Babylon, the task you have sought. Let bricks for it be molded and raise a shrine. The Anunnaki wielded the pick. For 1 year, they made the needed bricks, okay? So Babylon, the capital, is a city made by the gods for the gods. And then humans are there to serve the gods. Okay, so this is the divine order. This is the mandate of heaven. Okay, and as you will see, this is not just true for Mesopotamia, for Babylon, but also true for all major civilizations, including Egypt. Okay, so this is a tapestry from Egypt. As you can see, the gods are in control. The gods are the puppet masters, and the kings are just being controlled by the gods, and then humans just do what the gods demand of them. We will look at one last story to show you how this writing process works. Remember, they invented writing in order to basically gaslight the people. So even though Samaria, Mesopotamia, is developing really quickly, as you can see from this map, it's still a very diverse place, okay? They have different forms of industry and economy. So maybe in the green, you have agriculture, but in the red, it's pastoral, meaning you're raising animals, sheep, goats, you're going all over the place, okay? So there are two different types of agriculture. The first form is you are sedentary. You just stay in one place and you grow your food. You grow your crops. You grow your plants. The second is pastoral, where you're going around and you are feeding your sheep and your goats, okay? If you're a king, or if you're a priest, if you're a bureaucrat, do you prefer agricultural people or pastoral people? Obviously agriculture. Why? Because it's easier to control them, okay? So what they do now is they're going to create these mythologies to convince people to give up the free, happy lifestyle of a pastoralist and become an enslaved farmer, okay? All right? And the question is how? Well, this is how. This is called the debate between the sheep and the grain, okay? So the sheep and the grain have this debate and they appear before the gods for judgment. The sheep says, I'm the better one. The grain says, no, I'm the better one, okay? So that's this debate. The sheep says this, and King of the gods, make me descend from the holy place, my most precious place. All the yarns about Otu, the splendor of kingship, belong to me. Second, king of the mountain embosses the king's emblems and puts his implements in order. He twists a giant rope against the great peaks of the rebel land, he the sling, the quiver, and the long bows. The watch over the elite troops is mine. Sustenance of the workers in the field is mine. The water skin of cool water and the sandals are mine. Sweet oil, the fragrance of the gods, mixed oil, pressed oil, aromatic oil, cedar oil for offerings are mine, okay? So I'm the sheep. Look how great I am, okay? I provide clothing for people. I provide sandals. I have oil, which makes people more fragrant. I also provide food for your soldiers. So I'm great. In the gown, my cloth of white wool, the king rejoices on his throne. My clothing is worn by the king himself. Isn't that proof that I'm the greatest? My body glistens on the flesh of the great gods. After purification priests, the incarnation priests, and the bathe priests have dressed themselves in me for my holy lustration. I walk with them to my holy meal. Okay? So the priests, when they make sacrifices, they sacrifice the sheep. The priests are not going to sacrifice grain, they sacrifice sheep, okay? But your hero, plowshare, binding, and shops are tools that can be utterly destroyed. What can you put against me? And answer me what you can reply, okay? So that's the argument from the sheep. The grain says, when the beer dough has been carefully prepared in the oven and the mash tended in the oven, Nikasha mixes them for me while your big bully goats and rams are dispatched for my banquets. On the thick legs they are made to stand separate from my produce. Your shepherd on the high plain eyes my produce endlessly. When I am standing in a furrow in the field, my farmer chases away your herdsman with his cudgel. Even when they look out for you from the open country to the hidden places, your fears are not removed from you. Fang snakes and bandits, the creatures of the desert, want your life on the high plain. Every night your count is made and your tally stick put into ground, so your herdsman can tell people how many ewes there are and how many young lambs and how many goats and how many young kids. When gentle winds blow through the city and strong winds scatter, they build a milking pen for you. But when gentle winds blow through the city and strong winds scatter, I stand up as a equal to Iskar. I am grain, I am born for the warrior. I do not give up the churn, the vat on legs, the endowments of shepherding. Make up your properties. What can you put against me? Answer me what you can reply, okay? Well, what grain says is, first of all, you don't need to protect me. I can protect myself. There are no animals that want to eat me. Okay? And I'm bountiful, okay? So I'm independent. You do less work, you get more of me. Okay? That's the argument. And of course, the gods say that grain is better. Even though people who raise sheep and goats, they're stronger, they're more free, they're more independent. But kings don't want that. So they create these stories, these mythologies, in order to brainwash people out of their freedom, out of their independence. Okay? And that's why we have writing. That's why they invented writing.